Hello, welcome back to the fourth episode of EMI Professional Development Series by NTU. I'm Dr. Gina Wenjin Chen from National Zhongzheng University. Welcome back. Well, in the previous three episodes, we have already introduced the use of formulaic language and how it can facilitate the listening and speaking task and some more on reading and writing in an EMI classroom. In this episode, we're continuing to move on to more reading and writing training and see how formulaic language and moves can continuously assist us when processing textual materials and producing quality passages. Therefore, this episode is a sequel for the previous one, Formulaic Language for Reading and Writing. In the previous episode, we already learned about the use of formulaic language in academic reading and writing tasks, how moves can help us consciously identify and establish the flow in academic reading and writing, and how several useful resources like the Academic Phrase Bank, Reference-Write, or your favorite search engine like Google or Yahoo, both work, okay? Well, these resources can help you put ideas together and provide you choices and verifications of proper expressions delivering the language functions you intend to perform. Not only can you write better, like smoother flow, but also can you write faster, knowing the intended meaning and establish organization or syntactic structures in your disciplines. In this episode, we'll further explore moves with respect to textual relationship for academic reading and apply the knowledge to help your scholarly writing. So remember in the last episode, last time, we already introduced the 11 moves by Nugu, often adopted in scientific papers under the IMRD organization. Well, as a warm-up for this sequel, we're going to have you use the knowledge we learned from the previous episodes, the formulaic language and moves for academic writing. So let's try the tool Reference-Write we introduced last time, and then see how it can help my graduate students writing. This little passage is taken from my students' draft. Sorry, Angelica, I gotta use someone's work as an example. So let's quickly go through Angelica's writing segment before starting my makeover. You probably see the biggest problem is that the two blocks of text segments aren't supposed to be put together in the same paragraph, right? Why is that? Well, clearly the first half of the passage starts by stating the effect of tech advancement and how it affects teachers and students. But the second half jumps to factors the writer wants to explore, and there's no functional transitions to help readers to make sense of the jump. So this kind of lack of coherence is a very common problem when one doesn't think about moves. Sentences don't flow from one to the next due to a lack of textual relationship to display the intended meaning. The intended meaning is hard to guess here by her writing. Well, a lot of times we have to guess. We have to guess what she's trying to say. There aren't much like formulaic language, like formulaic expressions per se, to elucidate the connection between ideas and content words. And then besides, there are several grammatical and syntactical problems in long sentences. Well, what if we extract the content words and use the formulaic expressions reference write to get some writing ideas and then rewrite, revise this particular passage. So look at what we have found on the site. And all these wonderful formulaic expressions, the sequences from the academic phrase bank, right? All these useful expressions help us put ideas together in a fluent and accurate way with the awareness of making these moves. Well, students, authors can develop more rigorous logic flow and minimize the unnecessary grammatical errors. And meanwhile, after we rewrite the whole thing, the passage, like 2.0 version now, seem to be more professional and also have more academic tone of voice. So let's see what's going to happen when we incorporate reference write and use the provided resources to rewrite her draft. So this little passage could work as an introductory material for her paper. When we get on reference write, there are plenty available or probable formulaic expressions based on various language functions to help us make the moves. So after searching the moves under the introduction section, the category, like here we could see like a recent advancement, or if you want to present like evidence from the previous studies, or you want to reiterate like the importance of understanding the topic and also like remind readers in terms of the benefits. These could be the moves she was trying to make. So in addition, we can also try to type in the lexical items, like the content words here, like here we have interesting, right? She wrote interesting, or the key phrase, technological advances, right? Those little phrases which actually appear in her draft, and see if we can get some writing ideas from the site. So after putting what we have learned from the previous episodes into practice, now we're going to move on to the textual relationship that we keep mentioning. Formulaic language and moves are also closely related to textual relationships, and now let's find out how. What is textual relationship? Well, textual relationship in a nutshell is the connection, or we can also call it some kind of logic, between two portions of text, like how logic flows. So learning about the widely used and commonly seen textual relationships in English academic writing will be very helpful for non-native English speakers to read a passage to follow the author's thought. In other words, when readers have a clear picture of how information is put together, organized, and then this kind of knowledge of the structures of text can really benefit readers, because we can easily grasp the main concept and distinguish between the majors and the minor or supporting ideas, and even locate specific points or details or even examples. The academic phrase bank we have introduced just a moment ago actually categorizes formulaic expressions by language functions, rhetorics, and moves for readers to decipher information between or across paragraphs in the sense of the global, or we say overall organization. There's also local, or we say smaller structures, like, between sentences. Textual relationships help elucidate how writers and readers can navigate through a large amount of academic materials in EMI classrooms. The global level of the instruction presents the hierarchical structures of a text by describing how paragraphs are strung together by textual relationship to form the entire text. At a local level, this kind of approach, on the other hand, teachers can introduce or demonstrate the functions of discourse organizing words in understanding to help students to see textual relationship between sentences. With this kind of interactive approach, like top down and bottom up, like reading a map, students will know what linguistic clues they will look for and how they may interpret the meanings and functions of the clues as they are tackling their reading tasks. Hopefully, they can also apply the same knowledge when producing writing pieces. So in the previous episode, the 11 moves from Nook will also unfold like complex information for readers to cruise smoothly with the discourse knowledge to interact with the author within the scientific text. When making these moves, certain logic and discourse organization will be required to express the author's findings or arguments. So let's now take a look at the 8 different types of essential textual relationships. So the first 3 textual relationship, that would be a top-down type with this top-down organization, naming from an umbrella thesis statements to either examples or specific details. And in the academic phrase bank, you can also find suitable expressions and samples to help writers to put ideas together, like the 2 we have here. So this can be illustrated with the following examples, and then you can, after this big thesis statements, then you can start by presenting your examples A, B, and C. And similarly, we have a few illustrative examples are given here. Once again, a big umbrella statements, and then followed by your example A, B, and C. And that's the first type of textual relationship. And the second type of textual relationship will be from general to specific. So there are also useful expressions in academic phrase banks, such as we'll now demonstrate our method on some specific problems, and then you can start saying your problem A, B, and C. Or we also have here further details of something are providing the following paragraph or following excerpt or following sections, right? So these are very useful to present from general to specific. And the third type, the third relationship will be from group to members. That would be like collective concept to individual members or categories, right? So here we also see 2 practical and straightforward expressions help us tie the assorted information together in a systematic way. So here we have the cases are further subdivided into like how many subtypes, right? Then you can start talking about each category, each subtypes. And the second one is, this is divided into 3 regions, right? So after this umbrella theme, you can start talking about the respective regions one by one, right? So once again, formulaic language and moves really help support textual relationship to make the organization more friendly or friendlier to readers. How about if we put the first 3 sorts of relationships in the context of this short passage? Can you tell which textual relationships exist in this segment? Fairly easy, right? We can see the keyword types, which help us relate to the third one, from group to members, this relationship we just mentioned. The topic sentence reads, Jackson notes there are 3 types of contracts people can sign. 1, ready to sign, 2, co-created, and 3, quasi-completed. The paragraph also repeats the same keyword types when wrapping up a closing sentence at the end. But do you only see 1 textual relationship here? In fact, there are 2 levels. The upper level is the group to member type. But under each type, there is specific definition and description provided, like the first type, ready to sign. This group of people, their traits are detailed depicted in the following 3 sentences. And this kind of organization reoccurs another twice for the second and the third types of the contract people. 所以我们可以看到最外层的文本关系是主题句加种类关系。然后呢，在这样子的文本关系下面里面呢，在包着每一种种类下有一个标签或者定义，然后呢再加上细节，然后3个种类各自叙述的方式都一样，从一个标签或定义开始，然后再加上细节，那就是 supporting sentence。这就是所谓的平行结构哦，定义或者是标签，然后再加上细节的叙述。定义标签再加上细节叙述，那这样子呢，就是所谓的平行结构，会让读者容易预测论述发展。第3个种类也是一样，定义再加上细节。The second level of textual relationships enables the author package assorted information nicely and arrange them tightly. His use of textual relationships when organizing discourse facilitates readers to predict the upcoming messages when reading the first couple of sentences. Meanwhile, readers can process the information easily when the knowledge of textual relationships and their applications are shared between readers and writers. To be more specific, textual relationship can be vertical with hierarchy and linear on the same level, and they can coexist. This is how academic essays reach their clarity and flow in the organization. The second types are also top-down, starting from an umbrella statement or concept, such as a problem statement, a question statement, or explanation of course, respectively leads us to solutions, answers, and effects. But these 3 sorts of relationships can also formulate ideas from bottom up. Like here, you can see first, the writer explicates multiple problems and proposes 1 solution, or multiple queries to 1 answer. And finally, various causes lead to 1 consequence. This is what we mean by bottom up. The next type is claim and counterclaim. Similar to the idea of like a debate, analyzing between pros and cons per se, this types of textual relationships is often followed by cause and effect as the level 2 organization. For example, like explaining certain reasons and then lead to certain results, and then hence will be considered better or worse than a counterpart. It's like contrast, compare. To display the claim to counterclaim textual relationship, we can see a couple of useful expressions from the academic phrase bank can help us make the moves. The first one, the available evidence points to the contrary. You can move from the claim to the counterclaim. Or the other expression, these results are quite contrary to those shown in whatever. The final textual relationship we're introducing is time sequence, like stating events by the order of time in the chronological order. So like we can see here, if we're talking about the relationship of Philippines between the 2 superpowers and then how the evolution goes, then in this case, we can certainly use time sequence. So in the academic phrase bank, there's also an example like we can see on this slides. So in this episode, we further explore how formulaic language and moves supports the reveal or application of textual relationships. And we also learned there are 8 different types of textual relationships in academic reading and writing. Lots of useful and frequent expressions are accessible to assist us as scholars and them as students. For example, like online corpus, reference right, or academic phrase bank. Knowing the capacity of these resources, we can demonstrate to our students how to use them on a daily basis and help them develop a habit. Other than using the online resources, students can certainly collect formula expressions as processing their daily reading assignments. Identify the expressions and look them up so they can later try them out in their own academic writing. So here's the reference list in case you wish to explore further. Thanks for watching. Next episode will start kicking off our micro lesson design for EMI Classroom. So take care. I'll see you next time.